Now, Erie's premier podcast. News about music, health, and what's happening. It's Breakfast with Nat the Hat in the 814. Sponsored by Erie Insurance.
Welcome to podcast number 24 in the 814. Nat the Hat here. And I hope everyone had a fabulous Eclipse Day. What an incredible event. And I had hope that we would just get a glimpse, and then it did not disappoint whatsoever. The eclipse was spiritual, it was magical, and it brought so many people together in a most glorious way. I was at my mother's house, and I was doing a lot of landscaping for her, and I'm outside. I got everything set up to see it. Of course, the clouds were there for a while, and then I kept saying, I know it's going to happen. I know we're going to be able to see it, and it happened. And it was such a, as I would call it, a celestial delight. Podcast 24 is Town Talks in the 814, unraveling Mill Creek Township today. My guests are Supervisor Kim Clear and Evan Daly, the crisis clinician assisting the Mill Creek Police Department. Really good stuff there. So let's chat with the two of you. Kim, how was the eclipse for you?
Oh, my goodness. Celestial. That is the word.
It is.
You know, I had been going to meetings for about a year now with our police department to try to get ready and prepare, and nothing prepared me for that. I was probably one of those that was like, oh, much ado about nothing. You know, this is.
It got to that point, didn't it?
Yeah,
Because it was just
sure. It's gonna get dark. You know, whatever. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
When it started to happen, feeling the temperature drop and watching the sky. I mean, really, you took in a breath when you saw it, the full eclipse. You just, it took your breath away. And then there were neighbors around us that were yelling.
So were you at home, Kim?
I was at home. Yes.
So everything went well at the township, I presume?
Very well.
Good.
Oh,
good.
You know what? It was like clockwork. And I have to tell you that I was reading a few different comments from people. Where were all the cars? They said it was going to be so busy. You stayed at home and we were prepared. Right. That's why you didn't see all of the traffic throughout the entire day. You know, we schools canceled. We had, the waste management decided to go a different day. Everyone took the precautions that we asked them to. And that's why we were able to be able to funnel people out within a few hours out of Presque Isle, which was really, I think, our biggest worry is how are we going to get people from Presque Isle onto the highway? That was their problem, taking 3 or 10 hours to get back to Pittsburgh. I didn't care about that. I wanted to get them safely out of the county, which we did.
I gotcha. Nice job. So, Evan, tell me about the eclipse for you.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great.
Were you at home too?
I was at home, yes. Yep.
See, I think that's what we all did. We were like, well, after waking up in the morning and seeing gray skies and rain, I was like, this may not happen, you know? But if I would have took bets, I wonder if they could have I wonder if there were bets at the casino. What were the odds?
That's online betting.
So, Evan, an enjoyable experience for you as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it was awesome. It was really fun to see.
Mm-hmm. So, Kim, you and I spent a little time just in the lobby here earlier before Evan got here, and you were telling me some background of a situation that changed your life. And I know you were a school teacher for many years.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So tell me that story.
You know,
because Evan came in and we got interrupted.
That's right. That's right.
It was girl talk, and then Evan showed up.
That's all right. Evan, you're allowed in girl talk.
Yes, for sure.
You know, I think that I loved teaching, by the way, and I loved my students. I was so lucky.
Were you in Mill Creek Township?
Mill Creek Township, yes. I taught at J.S. Wilson Middle School, 8th grade English for 14 years. Loved it. And then I did go to the high school, and I taught there for 4.5 years. And, you know, I think what with the way this kind of came about was, you know, why did I decide to even run for an office or what happened? And I think, you know, the whole world started to change, you know, after 2016. Things were different, and I call it cell phones or you know, social media. There was a shift that I began to feel, and even within our country, the rhetoric was so so toxic, and it was
And
really
hostile.
And, where you could sit and have conversations before and agree to disagree, it was no longer. It was very divisional and tribal. And I think that, fine, that was all happening out there, but I will never forget the day it happened in my classroom. It was probably mid-year. The kids knew me by this point. And I always was I never wanted my students to ever think that they could judge someone based on what they looked like. Stereotyping and prejudices had no place in my room. And really that was a frame of thinking, as in, we don't judge people until we know them individually. You can't judge someone based on just the group that they're in, because they're an individual and they're different. And we need to get to know the individual, take them out of the group. And what are they? And so I had someone make a comment about someone's sexuality, or he said, I think he used a word that is not allowed. I mean, I didn't even allow blonde jokes in my room. My sisters are blonde and they're very intelligent. And no, you're not putting anybody in a box. And so, but he made a comment, and I said, you know what, buddy? I took him aside. I was like, you know what? You can't use that. You can't use that word in order to, in a derogatory manner, because you're saying that it's bad to be that way. And he looked me in the eye and he goes, Miss Clear, it's a free country. I can say whatever I want. First Amendment. And I thought, civility brings me back to what we spoke about earlier. Where is the civility? Where is the ability to speak without being derogatory? And I thought, I honestly got angry. I was angry. And I was angry at the shift, and I think I at the rhetoric, and I didn't know what to do with my energy. So I talked to her.
And you have plenty of it, doesn't she, Evan? Holy smokes.
Sorry, I know I get a little loud.
No, that's fine, Kim.
I ended up helping some people on a campaign, and then Kathy Fatika was leaving county council. I didn't even know what county council was.
What year? Now, talk to me, Kim. What year was this?
2018.
Because I wasn't here then, so
yes.
I need to know the rise of the Kim Clear.
Oh no, there's no rise.
Political stuff.
And and I ran for county council against Terry Scatella, who is now the chairman. And when I found out, I didn't know Terry was running, and so I decided to run. Oh my gosh, I thought I don't have a chance in heck to win against this guy. He's a legend, and he was class act. One of the most intelligent people about and knowledgeable about government. But I worked my butt off. I went to 2,000 doors.
I was going to say, Kim, going about your political county council business, was that knocking on everybody's door, talking to people?
Yeah.
Having a plan in hand, saying these are the things that I'd like to see accomplished, or what was your rhetoric?
I didn't even know what I was doing. Nat, I didn't know. Someone said, there's no book for this.
That's right.
And it's funny. My Uncle Joe actually gave me a book, and one of the things said, knock on doors. I was like, all right. And they said, have an elevator pitch. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I read books and I watched 20 hours of county council meetings. I swear to God, it was like a Friday and Saturday night. It was painful. But I wanted to know what the issues were. I wanted to know. So I started talking to people. You know what I ended up? My elevator speech was, I want my students and I want my children to decide if they want to stay here. Because honest to God, that's how I felt. I didn't want them to leave because they would tell me, Miss Clear, I can't do this. Miss Clear, I'm going to have to leave if I want to study that, or if I want to have this job. I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay. So guess what? All of the political stuff went out the window. It was about, how do I get my kids a chance?
And and that's something that I think as Erie County is right now, trying to keep and leverage our kids and make it a great place for them to live, work, and play, right?
Yes.
So, okay, now you're on county council. How many years was that? 4?
Oh, I did.
2?
I did 2 years. And oh my gosh, talk about, that was baptism by fire. Lord God.
I bet.
I learned the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I learned it awful quick. Andre Horton made me finance chair my first year. And I remember getting the call and I was like, am I qualified for that? But
what does the finance chair do?
Basically, and nothing goes in and out without the finance chair. So there are no appropriations. There's no money that leaves without the finance chair putting it on an agenda.
Okay.
So I had to learn and learned quickly. Doug Smith, who currently works for Brent and Davis, he was our clerk. He was fabulous. He would spend so much time.
Doug's a great guy.
He is a great guy, and he broke it down for me, and he really helped me understand. I also went to every department and interviewed them. I wanted to know everything about them and what they were looking at, what they needed, and
I was going to say, anywhere where you step into a new role, you want to go around and talk to the people that are there, and what are they doing? That is such a great place to start.
What do they need? What have they seen?
So when you won, where was your where was your hoopla at?
My
your party.
Oh,
don't you have a party?
Yes. The Oasis.
Oh, you perfect.
Yes, because nothing else was open, and I didn't know I needed to have a party. So but they were so good to me. So,
that's great.
So it was great.
So now you're in there for 2 years.
So and 2020 hit, and so this is where I learned. Oh my goodness, what's going on?
Sure.
So I ended up working with Kathy Dahlkamper and the administration and a lot of other people on the first $26 million that came in from the federal government.
Yes.
That was the COVID relief money. And this is April of 2020. We're just finding out what's happening. No one knows what's going on. We're on Zoom meetings and they're getting interrupted by people, coming into your Zoom meeting and doing all crazy stuff. So we found out we were going to get $26 million. And we had to have it allocated and spent by the end of December. And I'm telling you, we are one of the few counties that got that done. Oh, sorry. We are one of the few counties that got that done in
$26 million.
$26 million out in
so that
9
was
months into the community.
Allocated out into Erie County.
Correct. Yes, it went into schools. It went into broadband. It went into the homeless shelters. It went into businesses that needed help in their recovery, Erie events. We were trying to, we couldn't make everybody whole, but at least we could keep them afloat. And I think that was my best lesson I learned in government there from Kathy Dahlkamper, from Tina Mengine, from Carl Anderson. And, and
you have to surround yourself with those people. Kim.
They are so knowledgeable. And I learned you're not going to be able to get everyone what they need or what they want, but maybe you can get everyone what they need. So that was it. You couldn't give it all to one person or one group or one individual or one, but they all got a little something. And that's hard though. When you want to fix problems, you only get a little.
And there were plenty when that pandemic hit.
I know.
Plenty. So how did you get into the whole Mill Creek thing then?
So my heart is in Mill Creek. And some of the employees had asked me if I would think about running. I had learned by my time on council that Mill Creek had not necessarily been involved in all that was happening in the Erie community, because being on council, I knew we had a lot going on. We got the EDDC, we had the redevelopment authority. There was so much going on, and Mill Creek was complacent. They had some plans. Matt Waldinger, our planning director, had been working on those, but we didn't really have much moving forward. There wasn't a forward necessarily plan on how to actually implement. So I decided to run, and I ran for that. I won the primary, and I ran against Kirk McCaslin, who was a fabulous individual. He actually works in our streets department, and I won. It was very.
What year was that?
That was 20. That would have been 2021. So I started in January 2022, and I love every single day.
6 years, right? That's a 6-year term.
It's a 6-year term. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So give us a little history about Mill Creek. What can you tell me about the history of Mill Creek?
Well, I think that Mill Creek started as a farm community. And around 1950, our population actually doubled between 1950 and 1960. And that would have been post-World War II and the rise of suburbia.
Suburbia.
I know.
Love that.
Mill Creek follows that trend. Our population went from 16,000 to 30,000 and then 30 to 36,000. So we kept growing by these really large numbers. Mill Creek was kind of living off the tax base since 1950. They've been on the property tax base that had increased. And that's kind of what happened is that I think Mill Creek became a little complacent, probably in the around the year 2000 when, most of the land was developed by that point, but they were living off the riches of the last 50 years and not really planning for what they were going to do once there was no more land that they were going to earn property tax on. So, I think a lot of times you just don't know what to do or where to go next. You have to pivot. You can't in government and in business. In any field, you have to learn how to pivot.
Sure.
So I think that, we've, so I will joke. Sometimes I feel like I walked into 1950 when I started in 2022. Not going to lie. There are certain parts I was like, are you joking?
Right.
But we're working on that.
What is the mission of Mill Creek?
The mission is to make every single person that lives in Mill Creek Township feel like they belong to a community that loves them and that accepts it, and that they will help each other. We're a community of neighbors that are there for each other, and we are there to lift you when you need it. Because, I wasn't going to go into this, Natalie, but I will tell you that when my daughter, I have two daughters, 20 and 16. When my 16-year-old was 2, she was diagnosed with cancer. Stage 3 Wilms. She had a kidney that was wrapped around, a tumor of the circumference of a football wrapped around her kidney and 10 other tumors inside. We found that out on December 19th. I thought she had an ear infection. That's what we went in for. 2 hours later, I find out she has cancer. And 2 days later, she had her kidney and all of the tumors removed. And the only reason that my family was able to get through that time of, the 42 rounds of chemo and the 6 weeks of radiation to this little baby, is because of the community. Mill Creek people came out of the woodwork. Old students that I had, their families, they were having fundraisers of the teachers at school. They were doing volleyball tournaments and basketball tournaments. They came together for my family. The people in Fort LaBeouf did it where my husband used to be a teacher as well. And I thought, this is what community is. This is what it means. And that was in that was in the beginning, end of 2009, 2010.
So you realized what a gem and what a great community that Mill Creek is.
And how they came together. I thought we would move in with my mom and dad. We'll sell my house. We were able to stay in our home. It was unbelievable. So that's what I want everyone to feel. I want my old students, anyone that I've ever had in school, I want them to feel like they belong. And I'll tell you something that happened. Last summer, I was at a wedding for one of my old students. I had him in 8th grade. Marcus, if you're listening, this is for you, bud. I had him in 8th grade, and he invited me to his wedding. And because we've stayed close, and a bunch of the kids were there that I had in class. They're like, Miss Clear. And they're all bigger than me because I'm only 5 feet tall. And one kid, he came up to me, Mason, I won't say his last name. Mason comes up, he goes, Miss Clear, I just want you to know that we are, my fiance and I, we are going to live in Mill Creek because we want to be a part of what you're doing. Oh. And I don't even know what it is you ran for or what you did, but I voted for you and I want to be a part of it.
That's great. That's a great story. So I did not know this, but you are the largest township in Western Pennsylvania.
Yes, we are.
And what role, because, I have a lot of nonprofit organizations. What role do community organizations or the nonprofits play in Mill Creek Township?
Oh, they play a huge role. And I can talk about this from an educational standpoint,
sure.
Knowing the services that my students would utilize. And, we have I know a lot of people might think, Mill Creek, they have what they need. Their kids don't need anything, but we do have a lower socioeconomic group that needs a lot of help.
Right.
So we have a lot of nonprofit organizations that aid our students out there in our community. We also actually right next door to our building, once a week, there's it's called Chosen, and they give meals to people every other Tuesday. They have, you just pull up in your vehicle and they give you a big box of groceries.
Great. So, well, Mill Creek is often in the news lately. and it's about the development of the gateway to Presque Isle.
Yes.
Let's just talk briefly about the planning stage for this.
Oh, so
when
exciting.
did this start?
Way before me. I mean, this wasn't my idea, by the way. I'm never going to take credit for this. So I'll be honest with you, Robin Crago, she and her husband have a shop, Crago Jewelers, that is in the Westery Plaza. In 2010, actually, she had gotten together with Chip Reel, and they are in the Colony Plaza, and thought, we need to do something.
I love the plazas over there.
Don't you love it?
Yes.
Oh, I really, it's a gem. Mm-hmm. And they got together and said, we have to do something. This could be so much more. We have Presque Isle that's right there. And what do they have to look at? And because even in 2010, there were dilapidated buildings, you had the motels that were not being taken care of. And so there was a lot of disinvestment in the area. And so she actually started working with she actually gathered up a lot of the business owners in that area and some of the people that were working on the West Erie Plaza, which, as you know, has been redone.
That is fabulous,
and
too.
They got together a plan, and they engaged Matt Waldinger, our planning director at that time, in about 2014. And
so this has been going on for some time.
Very, very, yes. And so they got together. They started putting some plans together. There was a little bit of movement from some of the representatives in the area, and then it kind of just pittered out. And then one of the supervisors, John Morgan, came on. He was a planning director, or he was specialized in planning. So he kind of helped initiate the new zoning plan called Embrace Mill Creek. Matt Waldinger did a fabulous job organizing that. And that's where they had a comprehensive plan done. They did studies, feasibility studies, and took a look at what we need in Mill Creek Township in order to grow and really maximize what we do have. And that's where the Gateway project came from. Matt Waldinger continued to work on that, but there wasn't a lot of movement and investment in how do we actually get this done? How do we take a project and actually take it over the finish line? They needed a project manager mindset is what they needed. And I think that's something that, that wasn't supported at the time. And
that's what I'm saying too. I think some of these supervisors from the past really didn't think that area itself was worthy of.
Correct.
But look.
Yeah. I know.
That's like your showpiece.
It is. And so when we're talking about that complacency, it's like, oh, we're fine until we're not. But you can't just sit there and wait for it not to be, and
the Bel Air used to be a beautiful place.
Yes.
Back in the day, we always had radio gigs over at the Bel Air. The Elephant Bar.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They had a special Friday nights, I remember.
Yes. That area. And then and then Joe Roots came in, and then that just you're right. Like, you have to look at this stuff and you have to say, what do we need to do? Mm-hmm. So now, where is the money coming from that was secured for this project?
Okay.
And where did the funds come from in order to take care of cleaning all this up? Which I've seen you with an umbrella quite a few times in the last couple of weeks.
That's right. And a pink hard hat.
Yes.
So it's actually, it's about, and I need to make sure that I make this very clear. There are probably 15 different places where this money is coming from in order to secure this project.
Right.
And it can't be one pot of money that does that. There need to be multiple people all putting in for this project. And that's when you are able to, that's what they call leveraging when you're when we use that term. When the state and federal government see that the municipality has skin in the game, when they have put in some investment, they are more likely to match that investment.
So you're saying that it's important. I like that thought.
Yes.
That it's important to engage your own township first.
Correct.
To say that we can put some of this money up front.
Yes.
In order to get this job done.
Exactly.
Correct?
And I think that with the feasibility studies that we've done is that we took $7.1 million from there was a sale of the water authority in 2014, and there was $20 million that we had been receiving from the Erie Waterworks over a 10-year period of time. So $7.1 million is what was taken from that, and it was earmarked for capital projects. So we were able to use $7.1 million to put down in order to assemble the properties. This wasn't about taking, 6 different properties. This is about making one property. And that I think is lost on some people, is that it's the assembling. We're not looking to sell the Joe Roots property just as that small little square. The reason it wasn't successful is because it was a small little square that was awkward. You can't get that to work. So what can we do when we amass property and you have 9 acres now?
Is that what it is? 9 acres.
Mm-hmm. So when you have 9 acres now, what can you do? You can do more.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'd like to see done.
Oh, let's hear it.
I'd like a beautiful hotel down there with a little bridge across Prescott going down to the gateway. Oh, and have a gateway sign just like you have over at the plaza.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful. And there's some great stuff going on over there too.
Yes, absolutely.
But just light it up.
Oh, I love
it up.
Light it up. Absolutely.
Maybe there's a casino on the other side.
Ooh.
I don't.
Listen to you.
I'm just saying. There's so many. There's so many great ideas of what you could do.
I know.
That property is a gem.
Oh, it is.
A definite gem. And tell me more about the demolition process. Now,
sure.
I know, did Bel Air already go down?
So, yes. So, they're a portion of it.
Okay.
And I will say, before I get there, I want, so we because of the $7.1 million, we got $3.5 million in RCAP money that's coming from the state. We also have other funds that are coming in. We have $5.7 million coming in from PennDOT as well. That's going to pay for the road that we are putting in on 8th Street between Peninsula Drive and Pittsburgh Avenue. We also, I'm not done with all the money. We have more money after this, but $1 million we have from the land bank. And the land bank is actually gaming revenue money. And the gaming revenue gives the land bank $1 million every year to the Erie County Land Bank. Up until this time, Mill Creek saw $16,000 of that. So they've only been open since 2018. And so we went to them and basically said, listen, we're a fifth of the county. Where's our fifth of the money? And that's kind of a logic for, listen, this is a redevelopment project that will be bringing in people where they can live. So we've demoed so far the back of the Bel Air. It was the little motel. We demoed the Manor Motel and the Sandbar, and then the Joe Roots. So those are the properties that, thus far, and that was for $250,000. So we have $750,000 left to spend. That's gaming revenue that'll be coming in to Mill Creek Township.
So, are we seeing any interest yet from national investors?
Yes, actually, I've had people. Yes, they've been reaching out to us. So at this time, we have not put them out for sale as of yet. I know it's funny. Someone said, "Well, there's not a for sale sign up," and I'm like, "That's not exactly how this works." But because we're assembling the properties, and we'll change the subdivision of that, and then what we do is we're going to be putting it out to bid to have someone who will then work for us to take it out to the national and international markets to see what developers would come in.
I was going to say, is there going to be somebody that you spearhead that goes out and
correct?
Good.
And so I think that's going to be and up until this time, Altair has been we've been working with Altair, and they have
Altair now owns this building,
and
too,
that's right. That's right.
This is going to be renovated as well. So
that's exciting.
It's exciting.
This is a great. I love this building.
Can you remember being down here as a kid at all?
Yes, I can.
With the peanut guy out front.
I do.
The smell of the peanuts.
Oh, I do. Evan, were you too young for that?
It used to be.
I think
Evan.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
But it used to be the Baldwin. It was the Baldwin building, but this is a beautiful structure.
It is.
And Altair is talking about taking it, historically back to where what it looked like in the past. So I'm looking forward. We are all looking forward to it here down on 10th and State.
I think what's great about Altair too is that they have the ability to, they have someone that is employed full time for them that looks for grant funding. And that's where we've been able to utilize them, is helping us with our RCAP application and things. So yeah, there is money out there. And I think this windfall post 2020, I think, there's so much out there to access. And we as Erie County have not really gone out for it until now. So
I have Supervisor Kim Clear, Evan Daly, the crisis clinician assisting the Mill Creek Police Department on Township Talks in the 814, unraveling Mill Creek Township. And it's exciting news, Kim. All these things are exciting. And let's talk about the fire department.
Oh, yes.
Let's start with the fire department. Then we're going to talk to Evan about the police department. I mean, there's some great things going on in Mill Creek.
I've only been here 2 years, and I think I need to sit down and just make a list of everything. It's overwhelming. So yes, we do have a fire department. That's something else I really felt passionately about that I wanted to see through to fruition.
Right. How exciting for the township to have its own team.
And Dan Olette, who has been a career volunteer fire person and fire chief at West Ridge, is who I serve with as well. And, I think even when I was on county council, I did not realize the epidemic of volunteer fire stations in Pennsylvania. In 1975, we had 350,000 volunteers. And by 2020, we had 35,000, 1/10 of our volunteers. People don't have the time. They have families. It's difficult to manage all of that. So there really is a crisis that we are trying to get ahead of. So we need to make sure that I feel very passionately as well about making sure our residents get what they need. They need someone that's going to show up when they are in their worst possible time. And I'm really proud about that.
What does staffing look like? I mean, I know it all just came together not too long ago. What are we talking? Just a couple months?
Yeah. We just hired them, I believe, December 2nd or 3rd. Yes. So it's
coming into the new year.
So we have 9 full-time. We have 21 part-time. And then we also have volunteers that will still come as well. And between that mix, we have a good rotation going on. The volunteer fire departments are joining Mill Creek Fire. Thus far, West Ridge Fire Department, Kearsarge Fire Department, and West Lake Fire Department have all signed agreements.
Has the call response been better since we now have our very own fire department?
Yes, and we are able to get there in minutes. There was a fire actually, around Westbury Farms area, and it was interesting because it literally was in a bucket, and it could have taken up the whole side of the house. And from the time they called to the time it was out was 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Because they were able to get there that fast. They were already there. They're waiting for the call, and they were out.
I am shocked to hear about the volunteer firemen and how the decline is at 1/10.
Yes.
So this is really good for Mill Creek to have.
Yes. And I
department.
Mill Creek residents, I mean, you live in Mill Creek because you want to feel safe. And I think, and that's where Evan comes in. Honestly, our police department, I am so proud of our police department and the safety that they offer.
I have worked with the police department.
They love you, by the way.
I love.
They absolutely love you.
I adore all of them too, and they've done a lot for the community.
Oh,
they have done so much, and now we've got Evan. Let's talk about this partnership with the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Erie County.
Oh, yes.
Like all 65 police officers and administrators, police dispatchers completed mental health first aid training. Evan, tell me what happens during mental health first aid training.
So I actually wasn't a part of the training. That was just for the officers and our dispatchers, those individuals. So I wasn't in that training specifically. But I have taken some other trainings along the crisis route with crisis services.
But that's a great thing to have, Kim.
Yes, it is.
Like you have them at least acknowledging.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our officers, and Evan, I think you probably know this better than as much as me. Our officers are some of the few that are trained in mental health.
Yeah.
And what to do in these mental health situations. You know, I think that especially post-COVID, the rise in mental health calls has been astronomical. This is a different time. And I think that this has to do with the shift I even saw in 2016, 2017, you know, and even post 2020, my students felt differently after that. They feel things and they say things differently than I ever heard before. And honestly, it was hard because I hurt for them and what they've been through and what they've seen and what they feel. And I think for our officers to have the training to know, I need to understand where they're coming from. You know, I need to be in their shoes and it's get inside their head. What are they thinking and feeling, and how can I best respond to them?
Right. You know, a grant was also awarded to help pay for services of UPMC Western Behavioral Health at Safe Harbor, which includes you, Evan.
Yes.
So when did this role start for you?
I started last February.
Okay. Give us your background, Evan, in mental health care. And what got you involved?
It honestly was a lot of pieces fell into place at the perfect time. I really wasn't even looking for a job when I happened to stumble across it, and I'm very thankful that I did.
Are you an 814 resident all your life? Or
Yes.
Yes. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Summit Township. I went to Fort LaBeouf.
Okay.
I went to college at Clarion.
Okay. So you are one of us, basically.
Yes, I am.
You are one of us. You certainly are a great advocate for those who are suffering from mental illness. Who is impacted now that you're in this role with the police department? Tell me more what you're doing.
So I respond with officers. If we get dispatched to a call specifically pertaining to mental health or substance use, I dispatch with our officers. I arrive on scene after they do. Try to provide crisis intervention for people, help them kind of calm down in the moment, and then understand what resources may be out there to help them moving forward.
So you're looking at resources as well.
Yes.
So as Kim said, COVID did play a part in the spiking of mental illness. And when you go out, how do you de-escalate, as they call the situation? Good word.
That is a great question, and I honestly cannot give you a clear answer.
I was going to say it would have to.
Depends.
It all depends.
Yeah, there's a lot of different pieces that you have to take into account, a lot of factors, and it's just kind of feeling out the situation, the individuals, and
Are you driving in the
responding.
cars with them?
Sometimes. Yeah, I have my own car as well.
Wow. So give us the various approaches that you do use.
So prior to this, I worked at Sarah Reed. I worked at the residential treatment facility on West 34th Street, and every day you just never knew what you were going to encounter. Working with the kids, you've seen a lot of different things. They would get upset, triggered, escalated by anything under the sun. So you just kind of learn to get creative. And I try to bring that with me to all the calls that I respond to. Obviously, if you're responding to a child, you're going to interact a little differently than an adult. So it helps to know their level of mental health knowledge, as well as their interests and things like that as to how you're going to interact with them.
So you also talk about substance abuse. Are you there for that as well?
Yes, to an extent.
Okay.
A lot of the substance use calls, if it's like an overdose, anything like that, I'm not necessarily responding to the scene, but I do take down their information. I will follow up with them. I do a lot of follow-up work, trying to make sure that people do have the resources after the fact, and I can help them get in contact with the different resources if need be.
Okay. The courses the officers have taken, has it improved relations on the streets?
Absolutely. I feel so. Obviously, I haven't been with the department all that long, but our officers are very knowledgeable when it comes to mental health. They're very calm and patient with individuals in our community.
Important.
Yeah, I think that they do a really great job with the people that we're responding to.
What facilities do you feel are available for those who need that kind of help?
I think there's a lot of different resources that people might not really know about. And,
Right.
That includes me as well. I'm still learning every day.
So Mill Creek Community Hospital.
Yeah, we have two
Right.
hospitals for mental health. We have Mill Creek Community Hospital and we have St. Vincent's.
Okay.
They do inpatient treatment. There are several diversion programs as well. So we also have another inpatient residential program, which is the crisis residential unit. So it actually is ran by Safe Harbor on 12th Street out of the crisis office. That's one that a lot of people just don't even know about. It's a program that's ran by Safe Harbor. It's a voluntary program, so people can go. They can stay for up to 5 days, and they get treatment while they're there.
12th and what, Evan? Where's it at?
12th and Sealinger. It's right next to Popeyes, in between Popeyes and the
okay.
Cancer Center.
Okay, gotcha. That's important to know. I didn't know that facility was there, and it does give you 5 days of treatment too.
Yeah.
Because as I look out the window here a lot of times, and I see there are a lot of homeless people here in downtown Erie, substance abusers, mental health, that have mental health issues. So I really, really am happy and content with the fact knowing that the Mill Creek Police Department, along with you, are looking at the mental health side and the substance abuse side of these calls that come out, and it makes me calm to know that a calming individual like yourself is out there with them, helping them to de-escalate whatever situation is going on, and then doing the follow-up. So you're saying you also do the follow-up.
Yes. So after I have contact with an individual, or if it's on the weekend or a day that I'm not here, I always try to make sure I'm reaching out to these individuals, make sure they understand what kind of treatment is out there for them. And if they need any help, if they want me to sit down, help make phone calls or, anything like that, I try to offer as much help as I can.
You're a big man with a big heart, right, Kim? Look at him.
Absolutely.
When he walked through the door, I'm like, Evan, you're a big dude. Mm-hmm. Yes. With a big heart.
Yes, gentle giant.
I feel a lot bigger standing next to Kim as well.
I'm sure most people do.
Everyone does.
Supervisor Kim Clear, crisis clinician Evan Daly on Breakfast with Nat the Hat in the 814. And a couple final questions to bring up to you, Kim. We talk about all the different things that have been going on, like the fire department, the corridor. Give us some other notable achievements or success stories within the township that we haven't covered today.
I think that, I guess I want to give a shout out, and I'm not doing this just because, our employees are amazing. We have 200 employees in Mill Creek Township, including our police officers, our streets department, our sewer department, the mechanics, our clerks, our Parks and Rec program, our planning department.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there's a lot going on.
So all of these individuals, I can't name one person that is not looking to keep our residents safe or make the residents happier. Every single person every day comes into work wanting to make our residents happy. And it's like, I think that
serving,
they are servants.
They're serving.
They are servants. And I have to say, I think that letting them know that they are the servants, I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments we can say we have in the last few years. We are trying to invest in our employees because I think one of the things when I first was elected, I'm like, I'm going to change the world. We're going to do this and do that. And we're going to have this. And I want neighborhood nests and little programs all over. Okay, no, we're not having community gardens. Okay, Kim, I had to bring myself back down to earth especially when I realized that our employees didn't feel invested in. They did not feel seen or heard. And I think after 18 years of teaching, what I have learned is that I don't know everything. And the first thing you got to do is you got to, like I did on council, you sit and you learn and you listen. What is it they need? And that's actually what we've been doing. We have spent a lot of time and we've been investing in our employees to get them to be their best and to learn how they can serve better. Or, we have our clerks right now are working on a senior series, we're calling it. And it's from a clerk from every department is coming together once a week. And we are going to start having quarterly meetings with our seniors over 65 so that they can come in and learn about different items. We're going to have people there available for them. We're doing one on scamming. Our seniors are getting scammed.
Important.
Oh my goodness. What tools can we give our residents so that we can help keep them safe and from getting scammed?
And Kim, think about it. Most of us are getting to that senior level. I know I am.
Yes. Well, and you don't know who's on the other end of the phone. We had, and at least once a week, we have a senior coming in saying that they just lost $10,000 or, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, like literally. And it's from someone saying, if you don't send me your bank code, we're shutting off your power. We're going to turn off your heat or, so we have to help them.
Right. They are so vulnerable.
And they don't know.
Especially since, and here we are back to the pandemic again.
Yes.
But I mean, they very, very much are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And they lose their spouses and they're left on their own. They don't know about the finances.
That's right.
They can't, I can't tell you how many times my mother's been called to say that, one of my nieces or nephew is behind bars and they need the money.
Oh,
and
that's the thing.
That's another.
They scare them with that.
Right.
So we are trying to educate our seniors to keep them safe. How can we keep them healthy during the winter months? We're doing a whole health series. So that's something we're doing. We have also in the last 2 years, we have I can't say we rebranded. We didn't really have a brand, but we have our new identity.
I love your new identity.
Oh my, and that was homemade.
The way that was rolled out was really nice too.
Yes.
If you don't get your In Mill Creek magazine, you are losing out because there are so many good things in Mill Creek.
Absolutely.
In Mill Creek magazine.
We actually have a digital newsletter that's going out now once a month. And then we have an internal newsletter that's going out because communication is where we found it. We were kind of really struggling with our residents. What they need more information, and we need to figure out better ways to get it to them. So we have that. We have we're attending a lot of festivals and things like that, trying to get our residents engaged. And something that we've been doing is really investing. You said Parks and Rec. Okay, let's just say our Parks and Rec. Hello,
it's fabulous.
It's amazing. Like my kids did the programming when they were little. They did the dance classes and gymnastics classes and things like that. And I loved it. I loved being able to go to Asbury Barn. Unfortunately, we really have found, and honestly, this came from residents. Again, not from me. Residents have said they want more. They want more programming. Our seniors want programming. We don't have the space. Asbury Barn is very, very small. So we have heard the residents and we are trying to see what we can do to try to make that happen and bring that to fruition for them. Having a community space for our residents is something that they really value and would feel important. And it would be a place for us to gather, to be together, to celebrate. And so we are really trying to be creative in how that's going to come about. Who can we partner with in order to make that happen? Our library system. I love our libraries, and that's a great partner. How do we bring health into this within fitness and trying to keep again our mind healthy, our body healthy? How do we make sure that we are addressing all of those things for our residents?
Nice job, Kim. Nice. Any challenges facing the township currently?
None.
Boy, did she say that fast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you have any opportunities? Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I think it's great to talk about challenges too, because for me to say that the skies are sunny all the time is not true. We all have our challenges,
right.
And I think that we are growing within the township, and I mean, like there are some growing pains as we kind of move from being, just kind of depending on what happened rather than planning for the future.
Right.
And I think that is a challenge in itself, is trying to help our residents see that planning for the future, and getting ready for what's to come.
Well, it's making a place for your children to become adults and get married and live in Mill Creek.
And then you want them to stay, raise their own families. So part of me thinks I'm awful selfish. Like, I just want my kids to stay here,
There's
but I
nothing
want
wrong
all
with
the
that.
kids to stay here.
Right. Do you have any opportunities for like civic engagement or volunteerism within the township?
We're a work in progress on those.
Okay.
Of course, I've got a laundry list of things that I'd like to do. One of them is we're going to be creating a 501c3 a foundation. It's going to be a Mill Creek Community Foundation. And basically, it is going to be for community projects. We have residents in Bell Valley that are asking for things such as a dog park. It isn't necessarily something that there's a grant for, but what can we do? Can we get the residents of Bell Valley together? Maybe we do a pet day, wash your pet day, and everybody donates money, and then we start raising money and have fun projects. We have a committee put together that can raise money for the foundation. It would not be government related at all. No politicians are involved. It would be for the community itself to kind of start raising money for projects. Would it be maybe for something that we have
and then Mill Creek residents could put money into these various projects.
That's right.
In their own township.
Exactly.
Boop.
I know. And honestly, the park and rec programs all over the United States do things like this. And we haven't done it yet, but I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. We have our mill fair and recycling center that is for composting and all of that, which is such a great asset for our community members. Right now it's 20% off if you want to get mulch. I just want to let everybody know that for anybody, 20%. We need it out. So, we have a lot. We're working too on a volunteer program. I would really like to have a volunteer program for our seniors to be volunteers, but also for people to volunteer to help our seniors. We have seniors that can't get their grass mowed, or maybe they need help getting their garbage out to the end of the driveway. Things like that. Like, what can we do to help everyone in the township?
Right. Well, thank you both. Supervisor Kim Clear, crisis clinician Evan Daly on the show today. And this is the first. You are the very first of a series of podcasts on Township Talks.
Oh,
so awesome. This is number one, and we've got a series going on. We'll be talking to other townships as well, but a lot of groovy things happening.
Yes.
And a lot of good things happening in your community.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear these other communities, by the way. I want to hear because all of our townships are doing cool stuff.
Yes.
Oh, I love this now.
Yes. So I want to thank you for coming on and being my first guests for this. And bravo to Mill Creek Township. Doing a lot of great things.
Thank you.
And learning while you're doing.
Yes.
Because that's how it works.
Every day.
You were an educator, Kim. You
never stop learning. This has been amazing. Thank you for giving Mill Creek the opportunity to be here.
Sure. Just a reminder, I hope that everyone was able to take in the eclipse, a way to connect. I'm sure Mill Creek Township, there were a lot of, it was just nice being out in the neighborhood and it going dark and everybody going, ooh, and, people were blowing off fireworks. There was all kinds of things going on, that's what we need again. We need neighbors needing neighbors, neighbors being good neighbors, and being civil to one another. That's, I think, one thing that I've learned from this podcast today. So I hope the eclipse filled you all with love, meditated all of us with energy. Kim, I don't think you need much more.